Hi everyone, my name is Isabella, and well, this is my first video of my channel because I decided to start recording videos as I always wanted as a child. Uh, so, this is what you can say a 2024 resolution or whatever. Anyways, that's enough Japan for today. I really like gossip. That's actually like the best thing in my life currently. Before making this video, I'm not gonna lie. I knew what most people knows about both of them. Like from Da Vinci, I knew the Mona Lisa and the Da Vinci Code. Good movie. I really like it, and it creeped me out. I saw it when I was 7. That's not something you should see when you're 7 because I'm just remembering the movie and it has like a lot of stuff a 7-year-old shouldn't see. But my parents love me, so whatever. And then Michelangelo, the David. That's what I knew of him. So these two they had a beef. It was pretty mild. It wasn't like your regular beef, but they had one. And it's kind of fun, and I'm gonna be talking about it. This story takes place in Florence during the Renaissance period. The Renaissance period actually goes from the 14th century to the 17th. And this story takes place in late 15th century and the early 16th century. It's hard to know who started it or why it started or how, because well that was a long time ago, but we do know some of the things that happened because some historian was just enjoying the drama. I want to believe. So, I'll give you the context. Leonardo da Vinci, he was an extrovert. He loved to move around Florence's social circles, he loved parties, and he also liked to design costumes for those parties, uh, which I think it's great. Rip Leonardo da Vinci, you would have loved Halloween cat costumes. He would actually hate them because why? They're not even scary. That's not the point. Anyways, he had like this magnetic aura going on going on. He had like this magnetic aura going on. It attracted people, and he could actually have a conversation with anyone because he knew everything and he did everything to a genius level. You like botanics? I'm a genius. Pretty much that was him. He was a nightmare for introverts. And talking about introverts, we have our boy Michelangelo. He is an introvert. He's known for his deep focus on his work. He had like this solitary nature. He liked to be alone. He was also really hard to deal with. Actually, when he was a teen, he got beat up, and that's what caused his famously crooked nose. I didn't know his nose was crooked because, I mean, in the paintings we have of him, he looks normal. But yeah, apparently he got beat up when he was a teen for being intense. So we don't have much about him because he was doing his own thing. Yes, he liked to do his own business. He didn't like parties. He didn't go out much. But yeah, that was him. That was what he did. He also liked poetry. Something that's really fun is that when I was researching for the video, all the things that I could find about Leonardo were like he liked parties. He liked to do social gatherings. He really liked to dress up, put on makeup. He loved to do the music for the event. Yeah, he was great. And then we have Michelangelo, and he was like, "Yeah, I got my nose crooked because I was fighting when I was a teen because I'm intense." Anyways, we have a third player going on, and that is Pietro Soderini. Mamma mia! He is what you could say the mayor of Florence. He knew they didn't like each other because at this point it was well known they couldn't stand each other. Uh, Pietro knows that. He knew they couldn't work with each other. He knew they were different. He knew they had these clashing personalities, but he literally didn't care because what does Pietro do knowing that they can't stand each other? He goes like, "Yo, We have the Hall of the 500s, right? And everybody's like, yeah. Well, the hall has two sides, like this side and this side. I was thinking for this side, uh, why don't we get Leonardo to paint the Battle of Angiari? And everybody's like, yo, that's a crazy idea, yeah. But who are you gonna get to paint with him? The person he decided that was gonna paint nets, well, not nets, but like facing his back, was Michelangelo. Mamma mia! He liked drama, and he's so real for that. He had to like drama because why would you get these people that hates each other working in the same place across from each other? Leonardo, he was gonna paint the Battle of Angeri, and Michelangelo, he was gonna paint the Battle of Cascina. This was really important because these were two battles that symbolize the greatest military victories of Florence. And they got the best two people that they could find, literally Leonardo da Vinci on one side and Michelangelo on another. Once they start working, they also start roasting each other. Leonardo said Michelangelo's figures, they were overly muscular and they weren't true to nature. Basically, they were too jacked for Leonardo. And Michelangelo made fun of Leonardo's anatomy studies, and he basically said that they weren't important to make good art. Yeah, summarized. Leonardo was like, sir, you paint as a sculpture, which I guess it was an insult in Renaissance Florence. And Michelangelo, he was like, I wish I could say something about your work if only you would finish it first. And I just imagine Leonardo going out like, at least my mom wasn't a bitch. I like to think Pietro was having the time of his life and he was so real for this. Again, I like to think that that's my personal headcanon. Also, neither of them finished it, so yes, that is something. Imagine criticizing a dude for not finishing what he starts and then not finishing what you start. Michelangelo was taken away by Pope Julius II because he wanted him to start making his tomb. Now, I thought he was being dramatic because it turns out Pope Julius died like 8 years later, but he was kind of right because when he died, the tomb wasn't ready and it wouldn't be ready until the 17th century, which is a lot. Leonardo, he always had like different projects, and sometimes he got flustered because he couldn't do something or whatever reason he wouldn't finish them, and he would jump to the next project, which I think nobody can judge him for because that's pretty human. Most people does it. I actually tried to crochet, and it turns out I suck at crochet, but yeah, now I have like too many needles that I won't use. Leonardo, he tried to use a new technique. Instead of using the traditional painting over a wet plaster, he decided to use oil paints over a dry plaster, similar to the Last Supper. The famous painting, like when in the Da Vinci Code they switch Jesus and his alleged lady, and they switch them, and they're like over that, and the Last Supper, that one. So he tried to do a similar technique, and he tried, but he failed. The oil paint began to separate from the wall almost immediately, causing the paint to start to peel off and kind of flake before his eyes. It literally died before his eyes. This caused him frustration and he dropped the project. Next story is the Bronze Horse. And what the hell is a bronze horse? I'll give you the context. So, at the request of Ludovico Sforza, the Duke of Milan, Leonardo started making a bronze horse, a rearing horse. Sculptors had always gave up on the idea of making a rearing horse because of the support problem. They're standing on two legs. Well, that was a problem. But my boy Leonardo, he was like, yo, let me cook. Once he had a little model that he liked, he made a huge ass framework, many times its size, dressed it in clay, and began modeling. And I'm gonna read this because it's incredible, but those who saw the gray clay model considered that they had never seen a finer or more magnificent piece of art, says Vasari. He was an historian. Actually, I think he's considered one of the first historians ever, art historians. The real problem wasn't in the clay, it was casting the figure in bronze. Now, Leonardo wanted to cast it in one piece. Nobody knows why he wanted to, because why would he do that? It was nearly impossible. And some people think he actually made it on purpose. Like he didn't want to finish the horse in the first place. And like he didn't know how to, actually. Which also didn't help the idea Michelangelo had of Leonardo. At the end, he didn't finish it. Yep. And time kept moving since France was trying to invade Milan, which they ended up doing, by the way. Milan needed the bronze for cannons, not rearing horses. So they used the bronze that was supposed to go for the bronze horse in cannons. And that's the sad story of how the bronze horse, the rearing horse, didn't come to life. Also, when the French arrived to Milan, they destroyed the clay model just because they were mean. So yeah, rest in peace, bronze horse. You would have been great. You would have loved pigeons, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that's the bronze horse story. The bronze horse story is not important. Well, it is important for the beef, but it's not like Michelangelo said like something while the horse was going on. He said something later. Apparently, Leonardo, he was talking with a few people, and Michelangelo was passing by. Uh, they were discussing about Dante's Inferno, and they were like, let's ask Michelangelo. Which I don't think it was ill intended, because let's remember Michelangelo, he did poetry, and Michelangelo, my man, he chose violence. He was like, explain it yourself, you who tried to cast a bronze horse and had to give it up in shame, said Michelangelo calmly. So, there's no many sources of this happening, but I'm gonna tell it for drama purposes. When it was time to decide where they were gonna put that big boy, because the big, the big, the big, he is big, he is huge. Like I've never seen it in person. I thought he was gonna be smaller than he is, but he is enormous. But yeah, a small console. They had a meeting. In that small console, Leonardo, he was there because he was everywhere. And he also remembered that time Michelangelo said publicly he couldn't finish his bronze horse, and he was ready to make him pay. Because why would you say that? I literally just asked you what you thought about Dante's work. But yeah, Leonardo, he was like, hey, why don't we put him on the roof line of the cathedral? He also wanted to cover it, apparently he wanted to put him some pants. Why does he have to be naked? And they were like, no, Leonardo, we're not gonna put it there. And also, no, Leonardo, we're not gonna cover it. At the end, the statue was placed in Piazza della Signoria. Piazza della Signoria. It became like a Florence symbol, and people like him, and that's pretty much it. Anyways, yeah, I didn't know these two people had a beef. It's a pretty mild beef. It's not like they were going around plotting murder or whatever. But I mean, it was an artistic beef, and I like gossip, so I guess it was fine. But yeah, it always amazes me how another human being is capable of doing the things they were doing. Because come on, that's just uh, what. And I like to put myself on the place of a peasant or a farmer, seeing these two people doing those incredible works of art. And yes, it is like I would definitely think witchcraft exists if I seen a dude capable of doing that in stone. But yeah, that's the story of today. And also, I would like to remark no hate to farmers because God knows how much I love Stardew Valley. So, anyways, that was my first video. I hope you like it. And yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this. It's like really hot where I live, and the camera is really suffering, and I'm also suffering. But I had a lot of fun recording this, and I just hope you like it. I also want to again say that I'm no expert in art or expert in history or expert in anything for the matter. And any mistake that I make, you can always tell me in the comments. And yeah, pretty much that. I hope you liked it.